Watamote, also known as No Matter How I Look at It, It's Your Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular, is a slice-of-life cringe-comedy manga series written by Nico Tanigawa and published by Square Enix. And yes, that Square Enix. It got an anime adaptation in 2013 that was directed by Shinanuma and animated by the studio Silver Link. Also, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing these names right, I'm a stupid American. It got 12 episodes in the OVA. Each episode meshed multiple volumes from the manga into cohesive episodes that blended themselves very well. At its core, Watamote is a series involving an awkward high school girl named Tomoko. It's a pretty basic slice-of-life series following the life of this girl with severe social anxiety. Situations happen due to her trying in vain to overcome her social anxiety and make some friends or just talk to anyone at all. I mentioned earlier that it's a cringe comedy, and this is something that some people might be turned off by. Since Tomoko is always trying to make friends but most of the time failing, it can be very hard to watch. It's the reason why I have a hard time recommending this series to others. With that said, however, I absolutely love this series. I love for what it stands for, which is personal growth. When I first started getting into the series, I was just starting to actually get into anime, which was around 2015. I was drawn to the series due to the central theme of dealing with social anxiety. To give some context, I am someone that has struggled with social anxiety basically my entire life. I spent my entire school career, not counting college, basically by myself. I never really had any friends to speak of and was too scared to speak to others. I felt so different from everyone else because I would watch others talk normally while I legit had no clue how to do it. It may sound silly, but I just couldn't understand how to properly communicate with others. I was basically a mute with no real understanding of how to communicate to people or properly express my emotions. It didn't help that at my first public school I went to, I was physically held down on the seats of the bus every day by a kid that always preyed on me because I was weak. Said he was my friend, but would wrestle and fight me every day. I didn't even know what a friend was. I thought that's just how people were at the time. As the years went on, I would begin to get better at it, but it was at a snail's pace. I would start to get bullied for every single attribute about myself, and it would remain that way for many years. From getting chased into a locker room and hiding in there, begging the people chasing me to stop while crying, to getting racial slurs thrown at me and having literal crackers thrown at me, to almost getting jumped and having to run away, to rumors being spread about me being gay, to spending years thinking about suicide and almost doing it multiple times. It's fair to say I wasn't the popular kid. It took me until my adult years to finally put all of that behind me. Jumping to one school, to another, and then to another, at one point I felt it was all pointless. There was no point in engaging with anyone, due to the cycle repeating a year later. What was the point if I was just going to see a new batch of faces the next year anyway? They would just probably forget about me. Constant bullying, the struggle to communicate and make friends, the overbearing amount of self-hatred I have for myself for the insults being hurled at me every day, it all really damaged me for a long time. I always felt like the odd one out. I started to express myself in a new way by making my own YouTube channel when I was 12, and, well, the rest was history. When I first discovered Watamote, I was in a bad place mentally, so it was kind of like love at first sight. This was the anime that got me into anime. I never really related to a show so strongly before I watched Watamote. It was so beautifully painful to sit through, and to know there were so many people in the world just like you felt nice. To know that you're truly never alone. The first time I finished Watamote, I cried. I cried so much because how painfully relatable I felt towards Tomoko. It doesn't help the fact that when I watched it, it wasn't that long ago all that stuff happened and I was still pretty young. It just broke me, man. I felt all my pent up emotion just come out. It was a painful, deep kind of cry, you know? But the series really made me realize how much I've grown just as a person from those bad experiences. I wouldn't be the person I currently am without those scars and those experiences. I wouldn't be as strong as I am currently without any of it. Watamote made me realize all of that. Watamote is something I didn't even know I ever needed at the time. Vindication and acceptance of myself and who I am. Acceptance that there wasn't anything wrong with me and that I shouldn't let what everyone around me was saying about me shape and warp my perception of myself. An end of an era and the start of a new one. The acceptance of dealing with social anxiety and the start of succeeding while still dealing with it. The story of Tomoko's high school life really doesn't matter, as said by the end of the anime series. Same could be said about mine and everyone else's. Watamote is a painfully beautiful series. That's the best way I can describe it. It's something not everyone is going to be into, or really relate to and understand. Those that do, however, really love this series and Tomoko. That's why I said I can't really recommend this series earlier in this essay, despite how much I love it. It really depends on just you, as a person, and if you can relate to Tomoko. Some may find it too hard to watch due to how much it relates to them. People generally don't want to be reminded of the most awkward or worst moments from their life, or see them in an animated form. However, I think there's a real beauty in the series, and it helped me accept who I am. It may sound silly to say something like a show, a manga, a video game, or whatever can change your life, but these things can really make you realize you're never really alone. Watamote is the antithesis of that, of dealing with social anxiety, trying, failing, acceptance, recovery, and happiness. The light at the end of the tunnel.